what is the role of a lawyer in asylum case, in the process of asylum, and whether you should hire a lawyer or not, or which lawyer to hire? Those are important questions. And a lawyer in asylum, an attorney in asylum case, plays an important role in preparing the file, preparing the application, and gathering necessary evidence, helping you to write your statement and declaration, basically your asylum case, in a way that is most favorable, well, based only on the facts that you provide, but in a way and format most favorable to the grant of your asylum. That would be more presentable, easily understandable for the asylum officer, and to help you with gathering evidence, putting it in the form and format that is easily understandable and will be most favorable for your case. So that's the main role of a lawyer in asylum case. Now, one of the most important roles of a lawyer, of an immigration lawyer or asylum lawyer, is to be present and to help you at the asylum interview. The lawyer that prepares your case, that knows most about your case, that gathers evidence, helps you with preparing the statement in support of your asylum application, and that goes and helps you throughout this process, should be and must be present at your asylum interview. That's a big must. Do not ever rely on a lawyer that will prepare your case and will assign someone else to attend the interview, or will not go to the interview with you. It's so important that I would say that it's the biggest help, the most help you will get from the lawyer will be at your asylum interview. Because at the asylum interview, the asylum officer will ask you questions, will listen to your story, and will review whatever has been submitted, and most of the decision is going to be made by the asylum officer at the day of the interview. And this is your last chance before the asylum officer makes the decision, or makes his or her mind about your case. This is your last chance to say something, to explain, to educate the officer about the country, your home country, about your case, the reasons, and about the law. I mean, the asylum officers are well trained, they should be trained, but they're not really always most informed about the law surrounding the asylum law about the asylum law in the United States. And sometimes they're not informed about the country, your home country, the country of persecution, and they may not know much about the culture of the country, or they may not know about the country conditions, and they might be not very well aware of the circumstances of your case. So the asylum lawyer, the immigration lawyer at your asylum interview, must educate the officer about the country, must make a presentation or closing statement at the time, after the interview. And the immigration lawyer must also give a written memorandum, prepare a written memorandum that will be presented to the asylum officer to be included in your file upon conclusion of the interview. And the immigration lawyer must take notes at the asylum interview and ensure that that there is no misunderstandings, that the officer's questions are clear, that your answers are clear, that there is no misunderstanding or there are no glitches in the question and answers between the officer and the applicant. The attorney must take the notes and then make any corrections. Attorney can ask for follow-up questions after the interview, and again, make a closing statement, explain to the officer. Now, in rare circumstances, if the interview is going in the wrong direction, the officer is asking wrong or inappropriate questions, or is too hostile to the applicant, then the immigration lawyer can stop the interview, can make corrections to the procedure, and you can even request that the asylum officer be changed and replaced with another officer if he or she um, is not conducting the interview in the uh, way it should be conducted. So the presence of the immigration lawyer at the asylum interview is very important. Now, why it's also important to have a lawyer for your asylum case, as I stated in one of my other previous episodes, is that uh, the asylum process consists of affirmative asylum filing. The affirmative asylum process consists of filing with the asylum office, and that's the first step in the process. And you have the best chance of the quickest uh, grant of asylum and the easiest way and the fastest way to get asylum in the United States through the USCIS asylum office. So you have to make all efforts to be able to convince the asylum officer that you're eligible for asylum and that you should be granted this protection. And to do so, obviously, help of an experienced lawyer who is well versed about the asylum laws in the United States, who has experience and has dealt with asylum officers and is well informed about the country, your home country, is very important. Now, it doesn't mean that the asylum lawyer that you will be hiring must know everything about your country and your country conditions and about your case beforehand. But the immigration lawyer should know, should be very interested in your case, should give individual attention to your case, and learn as much as possible about you, about the country of persecution, their home country, and about the circumstances of the case, and must prepare you thoroughly for the asylum interview. And you need to have one asylum lawyer, one immigration lawyer who begins your case, that road to asylum with you, and who is along goes along with you and stays with you throughout the entire case to make sure that you are granted asylum, that you and your family are given the protection of asylum in the United States.